Final judgment on Bill O'Reilly is that he's a pompous, lying ass. Mother Jones wrote an article about how Bill O'Reilly was not really in the Falkland Islands when that war was happening. Bill O'Reilly once famously said that he covered 4 wars with a pen. But it turns out the real answer is 0 wars. He went to El Salvador after the fighting was already over. He's on tape saying the fighting's over and the troops are singing. And now in the case of the Falkland Islands, he was never in the Falkland Islands. He was in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, 1,200 miles away. Now, he clearly said he was there. Here's one quote. "I was in a situation one time in a war zone in Argentina, in the Falklands, where my photographer got run down and then hit his head and was bleeding from the ear on the concrete. An army was chasing us." Now, in reality, that was a protest in Buenos Aires and nowhere near the Falklands and nowhere near a war zone. In fact, we found the old tape from 1982. Bob Schieffer reports here, but he's actually got footage from Bill O'Reilly. So you'll see it's a real protest and it can be a little scary, but not really a war zone. Watch.
Although they generally numbered no more than 1,000 people at any one time, there were demonstrators around the presidential palace most of the day, and they were looking for someone to blame for the British victory. Many were angry with the ruling military junta and shouted, "Out with the traitors." Increased tension replaced the stunned silence with which most Argentines received the news of the ceasefire yesterday, as what little information Argentina has released about the battle got around. There were arrests throughout the day. The police threatened to use tear gas at one point. Several North American television crews were jostled. A Canadian crew found their car surrounded by demonstrators who kicked and rocked it. An ABC camera team's car was stoned before the crew escaped. The government, too, began its own search for scapegoats. The Navy newspaper Convicción left no doubt where that search centered. In a front-page editorial, it referred to U.S. support for Britain as treachery and said the battle for the islands had been lost because we were beaten by 2 world superpowers that had to join together to defeat us. Argentina's Foreign Minister Costa Mendes picked up the line, telling reporters the British success was because of U.S. support.
Some people in the protests were wearing 3-piece suits. I'm pretty sure you don't go to a war zone with a 3-piece suit. Now, furthermore, O'Reilly also lied about how people were killed in that protest. There is absolutely no record of anyone being killed, though coins and garbage were tossed. That was another O'Reilly piece at the time. But later he changed the story to say, here in the United States, we would use tear gas and rubber bullets. They were doing real bullets. They were just gunning these people down, shooting them down in the street in their 3-piece suits. Okay, that didn't really happen. And what is absolutely clear is that he was never in the Falklands and he was never in a war. That protest, where some North American reporters got jostled, was actually after the war. It was because they were mad that the Argentinian government had quit in that war and conceded that the British had won. See, that would be the definition of not being in a war when people are complaining the war is over. So, Bill, hate to break it to you, you weren't in a real war, you just got jostled a little bit. You pompous, lying ass. And by the way, yes, I said that twice, and yes, there are now more explosions in this clip than Bill O'Reilly has ever seen in any of his war coverage.